Yo, 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 what's good, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the They Call Me Daddy, a parents podcast. Let me introduce the co-hosts today. We got Mack and we got Mondo. And my name is Torrean, aka Daddy. What's going on, y'all? How y'all feeling?
Brother, what's going on, y'all?
Holla, holla, what it do? Happy Thursday.
Thursday it is. I'm feeling like Mondo got some good energy today, bro. I don't know what it is.
I don't know, man. Hopefully something come out that's good. But right now, I'm like, man, I just been running around all morning on dad Uber duties, you know?
Man,
Yeah, was you on Mack's back?
Come on, man. See what I'm saying? We're going right in.
Right, already, huh? We there.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Paws in the dirt, he ready to go.
Yeah, shit. I didn't know if you had to grab his leash and was like, let's go, Mack.
Come on, Sparky.
Man.
What's going on, though?
Hey, speaking of, hey, let me be random. Let me throw a curveball. You said leashes, right? And we be on some just straight, let's go there. Y'all be bringing toys and stuff like that into the bedroom?
Oh, you know DH over there. I'm sure he a wild boy. DH over there.
DH?
You're talking about Mondo? Yeah, bro.
Who's
Yeah,
DH?
bro.
What does DH mean, man? What's up?
Hey, all I need you to do is go on X and look up Dwight Howard. That's it. And we'll leave it there.
Oh, okay. I don't know where he be on. All right, I have to peep
That's
it.
Torrean's favorite basketball player after Karl Malone. So.
Oh, word. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so, okay. Y'all be emulating the same live practices or what?
Nah, bro.
Nah.
Hey, I can't wait for you to look it up.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Nah, bro. That dude DH is he's an ambassador of love.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's funny.
Okay.
That's funny.
AKA, like Mondo. So
all right, I got you. Cool.
Mack,
all right, we
Mack,
keep
how you
rolling.
feeling, bro? How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm good. I'm with Mondo, man. Just running around crazy. It's Galak month, so just trying to get these events ready for these kids. Running around crazy. What's up with y'all?
Man, I'm enjoying life this morning. It's been a crazy week, getting ready, preparing for Disney World next week. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited for the trip.
Big baller.
Man.
Last night at Cadence had a volleyball game. I sent it in the family group chat. I don't even know, Mac, you're gonna have to just be in there. I don't even know why you're not in this group chat.
I'm not even in there.
Yeah,
what happened? She went crazy yesterday or what?
She got her 2,000th assist. And so she'll be celebrated for it at her next game, which is Halloween, which is also my mom's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
But the irony between all this that I didn't put in the group chat is, her rider, right, who she be getting most of her sets to, her bestie Logan, right? That's Karl Malone, John Stockton tandem. But she got her 2,000th assist by a girl named Elsie. And Elsie was the name of the dog growing up in a house at 1248 Hague. And so just the irony of like, oh man, like usually who it's going to a lot of the times. And for 2,000 for it to be Elsie, it brought tears to my eyes. I was just like, that's a God moment. You know what I'm saying? Just for that to be the person to bring it in. So
that's crazy. That's dope.
It is.
That's lit.
So here's the thing though, man. 2,000 assists. That's amazing. I text Cadence last night and was like, yo, we're not going to celebrate for too long because we're going to hit 3,000 by the end of the season. They're going to go to the state tournament, win state. We're just going to project it right here. You heard it first here on our podcast. So.
Bro said 3,000.
3,000.
You know it's coming.
She's going to get a whole 1,000 assists in like the last 6 games. Like it's going to be crazy.
Which I don't know if statistically possible, but it's cool.
Mathematically it ain't, but we're going to aim there anyway.
Yeah. That's what's up. So maybe that's my energy, Mac. Maybe that's why I'm feeling good today, because I was a proud dad yesterday for sure.
Oh, that's lit. Did you show some emotion, or you just?
Nah, I gave her a hug. I texted her a few times after the fact. Cadence be on some. All right, so what y'all buying me?
Oh, facts. What I get for this? Yeah, facts.
All right.
So talking about daughters, have you guys seen this dating list of the places that women prefer not to go on the first date? Have y'all checked it out yet? Have y'all seen it?
Man, I just took a glance and I'm like, what's left?
Nah, facts. It's a hefty list of 28. So with you guys being dads, do you condone this list
Man, run down some of the names on the list, so so the audience can.
I mean, we got number 1 is Cheesecake Factory. We got Red Lobster, the movies, Your House, Mondo. That knocks you out the water right there. Nightclubs, bowling, family functions, Starbucks, the gym, IHOP. Pretty much anywhere that you can go. They saying it ain't working for them.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess they must be used to COVID dates on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, yo, let's FaceTime, and that's the first date. Like, maybe that's what qualifies, because ain't shit left.
There ain't nothing left. And this is exactly why people need to quit hating on Tinder. That's like, yo, straight from Tinder to the crib, right?
Yeah, man.
I'm looking at this list, bro. You can't even go to family functions. Like, we got to go to the YMCA and go swimming or something. Like, there ain't nothing else.
Hey,
man, people be tripping nowadays, man. Mac, speaking of Tinder, man, tell us about your wildest Tinder story.
Oh, bro, I ain't got nothing for you, bro. I ain't got nothing for you, bro.
Hey, can I tell you mine?
I'll try to set his ass. I'll try to set his ass up. But yeah,
nah, bro, I ain't,
Insert baby thumbs.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
So she swiped like this. That is funny.
Man, bro.
I mean, Mondo, you never did tell us the conclusion of what happened with you and baby thumbs. Did you leave her hitchhiking? Like, what happened?
I don't know, man. I don't want to put this person's business out there, but yeah, it was what did you say, DH? Yeah, she was DH. I don't even know what DH be on, but it was just too much. It was too much for me. I had to move around.
First of all, I hope she was not DH.
Well, no. Oh, here you go,
bro. You gotta look that up.
Yeah, it just faded into black, bro. It wasn't nothing. Because I never before that I didn't do Tinder, right? Like I was just like, why? You know what I'm saying? That didn't really match my style. I was like, all right, let me try this Tinder thing once, and then I did it, and I was like, nah, this ain't it. And I never did Tinder after that. And so
what's your cutoff game like? Do you just like start ignoring, or you tell them like, hey, this ain't working, you ain't gonna hear from me no more, or you just leave that shit on red?
That's a great question. Way back then, yeah, I'm probably like, I met this other chick, and then I let them make the decision to go into the ether or not. But if they want to keep texting, you know what I'm saying, and have good, engaging text conversation, cool. But eventually it just fades.
What about you, T? What's your cutoff game like, bro? I know it's been a minute, but
Yeah, man, I ain't never been on no dating apps, but I did get catfish one time, man. And it was
Mateo.
Man, I don't know what that means, but
You remember that football player, Mateo something? He played for the Chargers?
Matt Mateo? Yeah, I remember him. Yeah. But no,
how'd you find out though?
Nah, so this is what happened, man. So it was y'all remember my yearbook back in the day? I think Mac, you the one that put me on that stupid ass site. But anyway,
I did not put
blaming you.
Yeah,
I did. Nah, hell no.
Nah, it was you that put me on the site. But anyway, so I met this girl on there, and whatever, I thought she looked kind of good or whatever. So she's like, "Yo, I'll be in town. You want to link up?" I'm like, "Cool." So I had met her up somewhere out in Apple Valley, right? And I get there, bro, and she went from the picture I saw. I'm like, hold on, where's she at? And this girl looked like a damn gargoyle, bro. And I'm like, oh, hell no, man. I'm like, I'm fucking stuck here. Like,
okay, how did you show up though? Did you stay in there as a kind dude, or did you try to dip quick?
Nigga spent the night with her, bro.
Nice. I didn't spend the night with her, bro. I got out there about like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, at that point, I'm just like, fuck it. So, might as well, let the drinks fly.
Man,
okay,
he's still touring, got stories that we don't know about, fam.
He's so secretive. Right. Like, so was she a cool person? Obviously, if you stay, you know what I mean?
I think at that point, man, you already pot committed. It's like, from a gambling restaurant, from a gambling reference, it's like you're already pot committed at that point. So, I was pot committed. Might as well just push the chips in.
Okay.
No, for sure.
Hey, pot committed,
but never talk to her again. Like, just one of them.
Oh,
just one of them things.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
like
I
no,
don't even want to ask Mac more questions because I feel like he's gonna be like my computer breaking. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't got nothing for you.
No, that's
that's
all good.
that's pretty funny though. We did get some fan love, man. We did get some fan love. So I'm gonna share that. First of all, man, free my guy KT. Not gonna put his name out there, but free him, man. He got arrested on some bullshit, locked up, away from his family, his wife and his kids. Man, it's some straight bullshit. And man, keep your spirits up, bro.
Free all the
Next.
homies.
Yeah, man, free all the homies, man. Ain't nobody supposed to be locked up away from their kids, man. Especially like, now fall hitting in, turning to fall, holidays starting to come up. Like nobody ain't supposed to be locked up, especially not for no bullshit. So why y'all laughing at me, man?
Hey, this fool said, "Hey, let everybody out because it's fall."
Beautiful leaves and shit out. The leaves is beautiful, autumn and shit, man. Let
I'm
man,
just
free all
saying,
the
like,
niggas, bro.
Yo, what this nigga?
We need
Let
some
this
cuddle
nigga out, bro.
buddies. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, like fuck, niggas done did all summer in the damn motherfucker. You supposed to do all winter in that motherfucker too? Like,
Oh man! All right, pot committed.
Mondo.
Here's Torian, right? Pot committed. We
pot
letting
committed,
everybody
man.
out. All right.
but nah, man. And shout out to Chris, man. Chris, big Chris, he been showing some love, man, on all the social platforms. Hitting me up, talking about, man, he don't even got kids. He's listening to the show, so shout out to him.
Man,
shout out
appreciate
to
you, Chris.
Big Chris.
Yeah, man. Shout out to EB. EB's a childhood friend. Known her for 20-something years, and she been tuning in the podcast. She says she's a faithful listener. So shout out to you. And then shout out to Carolyn, man. Carolyn be tuning in right as soon as the episodes be dropping, man. And that shit's dope to me. So, shout out for that, Carolyn.
Carolyn. Hey, right. Hey, me and Carolyn, we be having the most funniest laughs, bruh. And so I can imagine Carolyn listening to this, like just over there rolling to herself. So, hey, man, hopefully we got you over there dying laughing, Carolyn.
Yeah,
man.
Sure.
Carolyn really loves the fact that, it takes a jungle to raise these kids, man. She been cracking up about that shit. But then we also got some more fan love, man. So somebody was watching the podcast and they're like, man, Mondo looks like DC Youngfly.
Oh yeah,
damn.
Yeah. So yeah, man.
That's where we're going. That's what we're doing.
Hey, man. Rainey was like, "Oh, that's Mondo," and I was like, "Oh, DC Youngfly." So I sent that shit to Mondo.
She obviously got eyes like her daddy, bro.
Except for sure, but these dudes can't see nothing.
Straight up.
Nah, but like on a deeper level though, man. So I was watching Mondo's Patreon the other day, and Mondo was talking about the fact that, he didn't really reference race until he was in college. Like, he never had any like racist experiences in college, and my experience was the exact opposite, man. I experienced racism at 5 years old. So, Mondo, I don't know if you want to share kind of what your take on Patreon is or was, but let's wrap it all in for the audience.
Yeah. So one, just on the Patreon tip, I just been documenting my journey, right? Like just that season, like tell the story about what's going on, this podcast, life changing, all the stuff. And so I just tell random stories. And in this segment of the Patreon, I was just talking about my lived experience. Like, racism just wasn't a part of, I don't know, the experience that I had to like wrestle with growing up. And shout out to my pops, right? And shout out to the Davison family is what I actually said on the Patreon, because I felt like we were middle class sheltered just enough, right? We had enough. Man, I just wanted to say leash, but I just felt like a dad joke was going to be put in there. We had enough leash to go explore and do what we want to do, but it was contained enough to where it's like, hey, but no gangs, no drugs, none of that stuff, or at least that was my experience. And so I highlighted that I grew up in just a multicultural friend group, right? I remember, my my birthday party at Mall of America, T, and the hotel, whatever. Like, hey, we was a diverse crew, right?
Shout out to Blindy.
This dude Torrean swore I invited a cat that couldn't see.
Yo, I thought he was blind. I thought he was like blind for like half the party, and then like we were running across the street. going to the Mall of America, and he just started taking off on his own. And I'm like, man, ain't somebody supposed to be holding this man's hand? Like, what the hell is going on?
Just Torrean. That's why Torrean, you can't trust his eyes, bro. He thought a whole human was blind for hours. Like, how is this man moving around? He can't see.
Hey, but he did have 6 thumbs, so anyway.
He did.
Or 6 finger. But
yeah, he did. But anyways, it's a long way of saying that my first like real like experience surrounding race, aside from like there not being much material to read in school that spoke to Black and brown folks, was going to Florida A&M University, an HBCU. And so when I was like first smacked in the face with race, just like it was the number one thing that I was supposed to focus on, it was a good experience. Right? It was dope. It was like there's Black people all around this joker, and everybody is positive. Everybody is about community. Everybody's like, yo, if you ain't for us while you're here, you missed the whole boat. And so for my lived experience, I just felt like it was super unique because most people have these. I was followed around the store, you know, somebody called me the N-word, blah, 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 like all the negative race stuff that kind of piles on your back. And I just feel like I didn't experience that, except for, I remember going to Roseville Mall, probably when I was in junior high. Me and my cousin would go to the mall, shout out to Lex. And this day we saw these 2 chicks. Right. And we didn't really holler at girls like that at the time, but it was just like kiddie, like, oh, well, they going in this store. We're going to kind of go in there and do the little flirty thing, whatever. Right. You kids. And man, after we got done doing what we doing, we never even holler at them. But my aunt was like, yeah, we don't do white girls. Right. And I was like, oh, right. And so like that stuck with me for so long. So we'll probably circle back on that eventually. But that was the only like race specific moment that I was like, oh, we don't? Oh, all right. And it kind of shaped how I navigated around white girls for a long time. So go ahead, T. I lob it to you.
And considering that aunt is my mom, you heard it once. I heard it all the time. I don't even know if I feel comfortable repeating what she told me, but yeah, we'll move forward.
I was like, I'm gonna say this out loud. I'm gonna let Mack say if it's his mom or not, but he already knew, right? Like,
it's all good. Mom's she is who she is, bro. But
yeah, no doubt.
she did always keep in my mind to try to date within my race, bro. I'll just say that. And do y'all think that's good? Do y'all think that's beneficial?
Yeah, go start there, T. Before you go deep into like your, let's just say, a more traumatic experience, were you ever coached to go one direction or the other in your dating life?
Well, first of all, why y'all doing my auntie like that, man? Like, y'all putting her on blast and shit. You know what I'm saying? She ain't never told me that. But anyway.
Oh, word.
Well, you was in Richfield. She always assumed. She already knew what it was.
But yeah, I mean, I think I don't know if I was ever coached. I mean, people was, you know, my mom would maybe say something or people might say stuff, but really it's just, man, getting to know people. You know, I don't think like personally I'm attracted to just like one race, so to speak. But, you know, I think it is important, you know, as I get older, you know, I do realize, you know, how it is culturally, there are differences, and like those differences show up culturally, especially, you know, through age and especially through the times of, you know, Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, just, you know, national news stories that have hit home. And, you know, there is a difference. There is a level of support that, you know, maybe you're not, you know, may not be getting, but I don't know. You know, I don't know if I could be wrong. So, yeah. How about you, Mondo?
This dude talking so generic right now.
But like, I just want to clear it up. Like in the midst of it all, like my mom had a lot of white friends though, so it wasn't like she was opposed to having relationships or being around white people. It was just, you know, I think Black women sometimes may feel like, you know, they're the forgotten ones, or they're the ones that always get disrespected, the ones who, you know, don't get the credit as being good wives. So, you know, I kind of get her perspective of why she felt that way or didn't want that for her boys, you know, the men around her. But yeah, that does. I don't think I know she's not a bad person, and she's always had white friends, so I don't want people to get the wrong idea or anything like that. You know what I mean?
No doubt. Yeah, man. I mean,
Yeah.
on the race thing, on the just dating outside your race, I think that if you make an agreement early in your life that it's something that you're not supposed to do or that you're not going to do, I believe that eventually you're going to have to build a deep relationship with a white person to get that gift that you actually need, right? Like they hold the keys, whether it's a business deal, whether it's a job, whether it's you finally releasing some old trauma, right? It's like whatever agreements that we make early on, that we're like, I am never, right? Never say never. It's like you got to circle back to that never with your tail between your legs, like, I'm back or not, right? Or be hard-headed and be like, nah, I'm gonna stick to my guns, right? And I'm not going to grow anymore because I'm not gonna touch that thing, even though I know I need to. And so just on the whole race thing, I mean, but I think that's for everything, right? Everything that we say we're never gonna do, like we should consider opening back up and going and trying the thing. But race specific, because it's dealing very specifically with another human, I think that person always somewhere in proximity in your life, and they're holding keys to like unlocking a different version of yourself.
Yeah, so just for clarification, like you're saying like white people hold the keys, or are you saying that by saying I'll never do something, you're possibly not being exposed to keys?
Yeah,
like
the second part, right?
Okay.
Because it might be you have to date another black woman, right? So somebody else might be Asian that has the keys. It's not about black and white. It's just about you confining your lived experience to a limited, I don't know, pathway of connections, right? Like there's Malcolm X and there's Martin Luther King, right? Like both are going to be present all the time. Malcolm X is always going to be like, yo, I'm by any means necessary, Black lives, everything, right? And then MLK is just like, yes, and everybody's poor, right? So let's just bring poor people together. And that means white folks and Native folks and Hispanic folks. They're all going to be part of that same story. And so I think you get to choose, right? You get to choose which pathway you want to pursue, right? So.
Sure. What's going on, T? What's up? What you was finna hit before, my bad, I shifted the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to share, like, I mean, I had my first experience with racism in kindergarten. There was my friend and I were playing at the park, and there was a girl there, and she basically told me she can't play with us because we're black. And that was like, I didn't understand that. And then so my mom really did a really good job in terms of, and that was at a Minneapolis school. So I went to Minneapolis schools for kindergarten, first grade. Then I went over to Richfield in second grade. And at Richfield, it was a lot less diverse at that time than my Minneapolis school was. So with that being said, my mom did a really good job of telling me what racism is, how to look out for it, how to look out this, look for signs that it's going on, but also to accept all people in my life. So shout out to my mom for that. And I just had some really dope friends, and like their parents were super dope too. Like my friend Drew's mom, Miss Hatfield, like she was super dope and super important in my life. We still talk to this day. But it was just, she was like that extension of a mom, right? Where, like my friend John, John's Guyanese, his mom's from Guyana, and, she was just always an extension of a mom for me. So it's like, everybody was just accepting, but man, I just, growing up in that environment, there was shit that would happen at schools, or I would have incidences even with teachers that were racist. And, I can, just all throughout my experience at Richfield, from elementary school throughout high school, man, there was just so many racist experiences. But, I just tried to just always just keep moving forward and never be mad at like everybody. Just take in, just, be mad at that individual and call out that individual. So.
Do you feel like in this season of your life, Switzerland, have you released all right, let's just say like do you consider human before you consider Black, white, Native, Asian, and all the other things? Or is it like I'm showing up for Black people first and then human second?
Well, I'm always going to show up for Black people, man, because we, in my opinion, we underrepresented. Underrepresented, and like there's so many different barriers that are just enforced into our mindset. Like even just going to a store and not saying what's up to somebody because of no said reason. Like that shit's bullshit that we got to stop. So I just try to say what's up to everybody now, no matter what. And I think that's just like an age thing that I just have, that I just have adapted. But with that being said, I never, if I meet anybody for the first time, man, I'm never somebody that's going to judge you at all. It's just like, yo, you want to show me love? I'll show you love. You got an attitude, then I'm going to try to, calmly, address that attitude. But
like at the Vikings game.
Yeah, man. I mean, like at the Vikings game.
I ain't gonna.
Like at the Vikings game, man. But that's just, it's all about respect at the end of the day, in my opinion. But like, the fact that like we have people growing up in different situations. We have kids now growing up, Black kids or, mixed kids growing up and being like the only one person of color, or maybe like 5% of the whole school is, a person of color. Like it's hard to navigate through them situations. Like, as I got older, Richfield became more and more diverse, but for a long time, man, there was just a few of us, right? And you would hear, students say shit, and you just would have to just kind of brush it off and let it go. Because, I heard of race wars and actual race fights from uncles on both sides of my family when they were growing up, from your pops to my Uncle Buki to everybody. Just like, yo, on Fridays, it was just cracking between Black people and white people, and they was just fighting. And so, like, I tried not to ever bring that. I try to learn from everybody in my life, but yeah, man, it's hard out here. It's hard to navigate it. I know some people that don't even want their kids to even know what race is, or just ignore it. And I don't think that's the right approach, but that's their approach, so it's right for them. So
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. How about you, Mondo? Or how about you, Mack? Mack, I know you mentioned like, pre podcast that, you didn't have any insight, a whole lot of insight, but like even with your boys, how do you want them to navigate, racist situations? Because I believe like in my opinion, like the more we can talk about it, the better it is for our people, or for people in general that maybe oppressed. But
I mean, even though we have to talk about it, kind of bothers me. I mean, because I'm always gonna ride for my people first, just because I don't believe in suppression. I don't believe in people taking away, like allowing you to know where you come from, where your people come from. I feel like they've done so much to limit us and restrict us from so many opportunities, learning, education. Still to this day, like I always got to ride for my people first. But with that being said, I also believe that you have to treat everyone with respect. I mean, that's kind of credit to our family. You know what I mean? Treat everybody with respect until they give you a reason not to. And also, it's like, I think it comes with being confident in yourself. Because once you're confident in yourself, it doesn't matter like what people say or what people throw at you. But then it's just teaching them to be respectable young men, teaching them their history so that they know which route to take. If you get mad or you try to fight back, or you show out, you end up jail, all the things that they want to happen to you. Or you can teach them to be, more like on the Mondo side, on the MLK side. Like you got to know how to play both sides, and just keep your composure and know that you are a respectful young Black man, and just don't let nothing get to you. Really, that's all I tell my boys. It's like, when you get home, that's when you vent and let it out. Don't let it out right then and there, because then you're gonna, being a Black male, you're gonna have to deal with the tougher consequences. So that's just how I feel.
So. Yeah, and like like a storytelling pathway, not a religious pathway, but I just need to use this analogy. It's like, all right, here's this cat named Jesus, and Jesus did a whole bunch of things for the world. And Jesus did all those things in 33 years, right? And what Jesus left behind through his story is still present today. And so I'm like, all right. And then at 33, he died or was murdered, killed, whatever. So just the way that I look at the story, I think that every human is exposed to all the elements, all the negativity, all the try this, do this, right? Like by 33. And along the way, we pick up and choose the things that become our vices, right? It could be race, it could be money, it could be sex, it could be drugs, it could be whatever, right? Like, but 33 years, you get smacked with all of it. And then after that, the story just starts over and you get exposed to the same things again. But I share that because I think after 33, if you can remove those vices and remove race and remove like these different things that separate us, I think the gift is there. Right. And so I'm saying this because Torrean, when we first started this podcast, Torrean kept talking about the book. Is it Blue Ocean, T?
Yeah, the Blue Ocean Effect.
So the Blue Ocean Effect, right? And we were like, yo, we should do a podcast. And it's like, well, like, what's the Blue Ocean? Where is nobody at? Right. And so we were like, there's not three dads talking about life in the way that we're talking about it through a parent lens. And we were like, that's a blue ocean. So we can go dominate that ocean. And right now, I feel like everybody is arguing about a sliver of the pie, right? Like, say my pronoun right. Rich versus non-rich, black versus white, liberal versus Republican. It's just a versus, right? Like versus battle all the time. And I feel like the blue ocean is human. Like nobody is trailblazing human right now. And because of it, I feel like as humanity, we're all losing. And so that's just for me right now, just like the soapbox that I'm on is human. And so I just start with human first because it's a blue ocean. And hopefully, if I continue to say this thing over and over and over and speak life into human, maybe more people go that pathway and there's cats that choose human first. And so that just feels like my mission right now.
Yeah, and for context, what a blue ocean is it's a, take a business industry, let's say tires, for example, and or in this case, Mondo using the reference of people, and you have your industry, you have your industry leaders, and you basically take that industry and do something entirely different and making yourself or making that business entity, or as Mondo's saying, prioritizing humans in a way that's different than the entire industry. So that way, you're creating your own set of customers and you're disrupting that industry. And now you become the industry leader. So I guess what Mondo's trying to say is if we put people first and get to that, get to, stop using labels of people, put people first, we'll be better off, and we will then become the majority or that mindset will become the majority. So
yeah, but when I visualize that, that's like you screaming that when somebody has their foot on your neck. I'm human. We're all human. So I say that meaning like that shit comes from the top down. Like it's all strategic, right? So like when you say that you want us all to realize we're human, who are you preaching that to?
Oh, to everybody.
But how often are you preaching that to people in power? Because us on the bottom, we understand that. We're trying to get them to realize we are the same.
So are we saying that, again, so this goes to our race conversation. I think this is a good segue. So are we saying you use George Floyd, right? Like the police officers, are we saying that is the power? Right? Because it's not about yelling at police. That's still a middle person.
I'm just saying, just as far as like being suppressed, like it could be rich, poor, it doesn't matter. Just the people who have more ultimately end up having more power. So, like, I just want to know, like, are you speaking more to the powers that be, the people who have more control over society, you know, marketing,
Yeah, I got
everything
you.
that we see? Yeah.
I got you. So let's go imagination. Okay. Like we get what's happening in the world. We see the stuff. We see who's in power and all the stuff. So then I take what I see, and then I take what I see in reality, and then I take what I see in story form in somebody's imagination.
Mm-hmm.
And the story that shows up for me a lot is Star Wars. And so in Star Wars, there is the Empire, right? The Empire has all the stuff. And then there are Jedi. And like Jedi are few. However, for some reason, the world works for the Jedi, right? The Force surrounds the Jedi. Well, how do you become one with the Force? Well, first, you have to make an agreement that I'm one with human, right? If you're arguing about not being one with human, then you definitely can't be one with everything if you can't even be one with human. And so through my imagination, I challenge people to consider, is there a certain unique invisible gift that is actually truly present if we choose to be one with all things? Right? Like what if? And so if that is the case, then the people at the top that continue to suppress others will eventually be left. If all the people in the middle are like, we're going to choose to be human, and like because they do it somehow, some way, God, force, universe, consciousness, all the things just works. And so that's just my imagination saying like, what if? Like, and it takes for somebody else to be like, yeah, Mondo, I don't know, but what if? And if that can be true, let me try it. And so it's literally just that, right? It's literally Martin Luther King, I have a dream that one day. And so I'm like, what if one day? And it just starts with us changing our minds and not participating in this separatist mindset. Because if we continue to do that, we see what happens, right? Black, white turns into liberal, Republican, turns into, well, what about LGBTQ? Well, what about my pronouns? What about, and it just keeps getting, now we're like, Mack's a dog. Like it just keeps.
No, nigga, hey. Torrean, all right. You got Mondo. You got Mondo today. All right.
I just had to. But no, but really, it just keeps on cutting the pie over and over and over. And it's just like, yo, eventually, right? Like, it gets to be kind of ridiculous. I get identity. I get identity, right? Like, know who you are. You might have 73 different labels that you use to identify yourself. That's cool. But it ain't my responsibility to master all the labels that you call yourself. Like, that's how I feel. Like, you, dope. I am me. But together, if we're like, oh, as long as you're a confident person in who you are, and I'm a confident person in who I am, well, we are good together.
But
right?
What if you ain't confident though? Like they trying to strip that from you, dehumanize you, and you know the plan, they're divide and conquer.
But whose responsibility is it to be confident? You cannot blame anybody else and be like, hey, they control my mind and they don't allow me to be confident.
No, that ain't. I disagree. I disagree, man. Different circumstances, different ways you're raised. I mean, like take the movie Precious, for example, man. Mm-hmm. Her mama beat the fuck out of her and her daddy raped her. How the fuck is she supposed to be confident? Like, yeah, it's her responsibility it's her responsibility because it's her confidence, but like, man, like niggas be going through real shit. So it's not just as easy as saying like, oh, it's nobody's responsibility but theirs to be confident. Like,
it's tough, bro.
Hold on. Let me respond to that, because here's where I'm like, but are you 100% certain it's still not balanced? Here's what I say about that. Somebody raping somebody and all that's not cool, right? I'm not saying that. But let's say that you are 10 years old and you are terrified of math tests. the anxiety and the trauma that math tests create for you weighs 100 pounds. For some reason, you're just, it's the thing that you're scared of the most. And every week you go to school and you experience this 100-pound weight. Is it possible that the person who's being abused at home, that the weight for that 10-year-old also feels like 100 pounds? The way that God created each of us, is it possible that no matter what the circumstance or situation is that creates anxiety and hurts us, what if it still weighs the same to each individual? Like, we can't say that, yo, that person that is really struggling with that test, like, yo, you're a bitch, fam, because my dad's beating me at home. Like that is where we are losing, because somebody's like, my trauma hurts more than your trauma. And they're like, no, bruh, like, I am debilitated. I can't get out the bed.
Who's comparing? I mean, only person that's
everybody.
Right, but that's my point, right? Who's comparing?
Everybody.
Why are we comparing? We shouldn't be comparing. Right, but that's what I'm saying to you. When you just compared and said confidence is for yourself and that's yada yada yada, that's bullshit. Because now you're telling somebody how they should feel. That's my point. You're the one that's bringing the comparison, dog. Like, ain't nobody bringing the comparison but you on that.
How am I bringing the comparison and saying you have the ability to control your own mind?
That's not what you said.
What did I say?
You said confidence is your responsibility.
Correct.
Which that's not facts, bro.
It is like
facts. There's circumstances that go into that. You have to build confidence through over time. That's why the fuck we have friends. That's why we have family. That's how there's counselors. There's everything else to help you shape yourself into the best version of yourself.
And whose responsibility is it?
Whose responsibility? What do you mean?
It's still your responsibility. It's an individual's responsibility.
It takes time, man. People don't recognize it. It takes time.
But it's still your responsibility.
It takes time.
Somebody can be less confident and be like, I am going to choose to go home and drink every day because 25 years ago I was verbally abused.
Some of the most confident people in the world I know fucking drink every day.
Exactly.
From gym rats to whatever, they choose to drink every day. So it has nothing to fucking do with confidence, bro.
It does.
Doesn't.
It does, because they're not really fully confident in themselves because they don't believe that they can handle the stress without the alcohol.
All right.
I mean, I think you're both right. So there's just layers to it, though. It's like not as simple as Mondo's making it seem, but Torrean's right. Like, it does take a collective to help one person, bro. Like, I don't think people who aren't confident are cool with not being confident. Like, they trying to find ways to better themselves and be more confident.
So this is where language is important to me, because it is simple, but it's difficult. It is extremely simple. It is, you have the power to control your own mind. Simply put, you get to choose the inputs in which you digest every day. You have the power to do that, but it is hard to choose inputs that 100% add value in a positive way to your human body. But you have the choice.
Yeah, I think it's easier said than being in the situation.
Correct. I'm not talking about easy versus difficult. I'm saying simple. Like, it's still 1 + 2 = 3 all the time. But for some people, math is difficult, but it's still simple. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, this got me energized, right? Because I feel like we got to the point where we say it's everybody else's fault.
I didn't say it was anybody's fault. I'm not blaming anybody else. What I'm saying is it's not as simple as 1 + 2 = this.
Why not?
No, because if that's the case, the whole world would be solved. The formula would be solved. If it was 1 + 2, the whole formula would be solved. There's a reason why motherfucking algorithms are fucking 1 million characters long, or 1 million numbers, 1 million characters long for certain things. Like
just love, walk by faith. What else? If you just do those two things,
that formula works for you. That formula works for you.
But it's simple.
It works for you.
So are you saying if Torrean adopted those two things and removed all other variables, it can't work?
But how do you remove all the other variables? So let's say you're going through mental health. You have all these issues.
Yep.
Then you go to the crib. Ain't no groceries in the crib.
Yep.
Kids hungry.
Yep.
Evictions coming.
Yep.
All the shit piles up, bro.
For sure.
So just sit there, have faith, and think positive, and you'll be okay. It's not that simple.
Why? Because that just means that your faith isn't strong enough yet.
I mean, it's easier said than done, bro. Like
exactly, it is right. Again, simple and easy. I'm not saying those things are the same. I'm saying Torrean shows up for people all the time, and he has his entire life. And because of that, Torrean can have faith that, man, even though times are hard, I believe in my faith that something outside of my control got my back, and I ain't gonna die. And eventually it's all going to work out exactly how it should. To have faith in that is simple, but it is extremely difficult.
I believe that the formula is different for all of us, man.
Okay.
Like, the formula is different for all of us. What makes sense from with Mondo, the 1 + 2, that equals 3 for Mondo. Cool. For
Are you
Mack,
saying it equals 4 for somebody else?
No, what I'm saying is it might take
always
more numbers.
equals 3.
It might take more numbers, nigga. That's what the fuck I'm saying.
But it always equals 3. But 1 + 2 always equals 3.
Cool, that works. That's your formula, nigga. That's what my point is. That's your formula.
Cool.
Mack's formula might be 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. He needs 5, nigga. What the fuck?
But eventually he gets down to 3. He's going to have to keep going.
What numbers? What if his number is 5? Tell me the divisional math to get to 3.
Because you divide it by itself and it's still 1. Because we are all 1, bruh. That's what I'm saying. Eventually, when we get to
divide it by itself,
1,
it's still 5, dog.
5 divided by 5 is 5.
5 divided by 1 is 5.
I said you divide it by itself.
You said divided by 1.
So anyways, all things are one thing. Like, eventually, we have to get to all things are one thing. As long as we continue to argue that somebody else is not the same as we are, just looking through the world through a different lens, we will continue to argue that somebody else's circumstances is more dire, or that somebody is in more power than we are. You have all the power. You literally right now, sitting in your room, listening to this podcast, you have all the power. But you can choose to say, nah, somebody else has power over me. You can make the choice, one or the other, right now in this moment. And it's up to you. And if you say, yes, Mondo, I do believe that I have the power, then you do. Or you can say, nope, the world is against me and I do not have power over this system. And if you believe that, that will be true.
So,
I mean, yeah, I do agree.
I agree. I agree.
I do agree with that. I do agree with the fact that, like, you know, people, you know, can't let outside, or we should not let outside noise or influences negatively affect us. I do agree with that. I do agree that, hey, man, I'm going to take power myself to take, I'm going to get my power back. I believe in that 100%. So I do believe in that. I just don't believe in the fact that the formula is as simple as 1 + 2 = 3.
Okay, that's fair. That was a good back and forth. I like that. You know, Torrean out here cussing.
Oh, you know, that nigga, he only Switzerland part-time, you know.
Man, you know, I was Switzerland for an hour, you know, 40 minutes into this podcast, and then, you know, I got a little mad, but, you know, I'm back calm, you know, like, I'm back calm. It ain't like I'm like I want to kill Mondo or nothing like that, you know. I just got a little excited.
I think what Mondo speaks more on is very important is power of the mind, which is very important, but I think that there is strength in numbers as well. So I hear what you're saying. Like, we gotta get the people aside of us to know, like, you are strong, you are powerful. But I think that's more of the challenge, is getting the people around you to realize the same thing that what you're trying to say.
No, I'm with you, and I
because it does take an army. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, we went from a village to an army to
this, you know, dog part
jungle. You know what I'm saying? No, so let me just say one thing, and I'll throw it back to you guys because I think this is really important. I think and this is sidestepping. Me and Torrean just looked at something in the middle from completely opposite perspectives. And the conversation got elevated. But after we got done with the conversation, it's still all love. And so I feel like that part we should not miss, right? Because we're going to cross paths with people that look at it 100% different, but still like are trying to get to the same thing. And so like, that's why I really love this podcast, because we come at things from 3 different perspectives. But at the end of it, we're like, let's hug it out, right? Because we want better for everybody. We want people to be more happy, live more joyous moments. And so like, shout out to Torrean and Mack for just being open to facilitate this conversation and get intense and know that at the end, like, we're always going to be good. And so listeners, like that person that you're like, how the F do they believe that? And then you start pushing them out your life and you hate them and you're like, they're dumb and whatever. And then you start talking negatively about that person. Like, that's the judgment energy that we have to release. It's just like, we're trying to get to the same thing. And so like, let's still continue to do it together, even though we don't agree on the pathway in which we get there. And so I just think that there's beauty in that. So like, I just felt like highlighting that.
For sure.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the same thing, man, because, in doing a podcast, like we always say, like, men don't talk about these things. Black people, we don't really have these deep conversations or whatever. We have deep conversations, but my point is just the fact of, like you said, Mondo, we came to a halt. It was arguing back and forth or debate, whatever you want to call it, and we were able to just brush it off, like, let's move on. So that kind of segues me to my like last topic I want to talk about, which is code switching, right? Like, because I feel like that is so important for us to talk about. So, but like, do y'all code switch anymore? I mean, we're all guilty of it, but personally, I try not to anymore. But is that something that y'all feel like you got to do, or?
I mean, I guess I'll go first. Like, I think when you code switch, it is you cutting off the edges of yourself until you find your true self, right? It's just like, over here you might be super something, over here you might be super something else. And then when you keep going between these environments, eventually you just find yourself in the middle. So I think code switching is necessary, but it's just part of the process for you to lock in your identity and who you actually want to be every day. And so I think the 3 of us got to a point in our life where we've code switched in so many different ways. We're like, we're just going to be this version, right? Like, this is who we want to be today. Like, I was a black tech guy for a while. I remember when I got into tech, like, I wore glasses. I had like pants that were rolled up a little bit, very nerdy, because part of that was like
Urkel.
But straight up, no, part of that Urkel ensemble was like, I'm a physically intimidating black man in tech at the time with just a whole bunch of white folks. And so like, as soon as I come in, it's like, who is this intimidating black dude? But when you put on some Urkel glasses, right, and then you come in there and you vibe, they're like, oh, I'm no longer scared of this human. And then I got to a point to where I was like, bro, I ain't doing that. Right. But strategically, I was just like, oh, I could play this game. But now I'm like, nah, I ain't doing that. And so, I think we all code switch until we don't.
Same.
So like, you talk to humans and dogs the same way, Mac?
Man, come on, Sparky.
Like, when you at the park?
No. Hey, no. Do you code switch? You coming from Richfield, you got friends of different demographics.
No, that's a great question, man. I really try not to anymore because, I remember I had someone in my life. I'm not going to put any labels on who the person is, but somebody we all know, we all care about. But, I remember one time they said to me, it's like, you know what, Torrean, one thing I admire about you is you know how to talk to the fellas and you know how to talk to other people. And it's just something that always...
Fellas and other people. Help me understand. I'm lost.
Okay, I'm sorry. You know how to talk to... You could talk street and you could talk professional, basically, is what they were trying to say, right? And something that always just kind of stuck with me because I thought, I was like, man, I took that as a compliment. Like, oh, yeah, thank you. And then as I started to just get older, I'm like, man, fuck all that shit, man. I'm just gonna show up. I'm just gonna try to show love, bring energy to everybody, but be myself, man. Because like Mondo, I agree with you when you said like, by doing it, it kind of shapes you into figuring out who to be yourself, or who you are as a person. But it's like if I'm in a business meeting, I'm trying to be the same person I am. I mean, not all the way the same person. It's hard to be all the way the same person when I'm talking to y'all niggas, but it's because they're not going to understand that. But it's just like I just try to be authentically me in every situation nowadays. Like I try not to just be uncomfortable around anybody. And my friends. I have one of my best friends in the world is a 78-year-old woman that lives in Las Vegas, and she's a white woman, and we'll go to movies, we'll go to lunch, we'll just kind of hang out and kick it. And I got friends from everybody, so I just really just try to show up and just be me, man.
Mack, do you know this human?
Not at all. He a man full of secrets, ain't he? He got a whole bag of them.
This dude said a 78-year-old white woman from Las Vegas.
Yeah, bruh. Man. She tells me all the time, like, Torrean, you're my only friend that's still alive. Actually, now she hangs out with one of her neighbor friends. But yeah, every time I go to Vegas, like either Ricky and I.
Man, I got hella jokes, but I'm gonna keep it like I ain't.
Nah, it ain't even nothing like that, bro. Like it's for real. It's just a really pure, great friendship, man. Like she made crocheted Rainey a blanket when she was born, and sends Rainey money on her birthdays, on her birthdays and stuff. So it's dope,
Do you have any other secrets you want to share on this podcast?
Nah, man. We ain't supposed to share our secrets, man. That's just ingrained in us, man. So, but they'll slowly pour out over time, in the podcast. But yeah, man, it's dope. I'm just saying, like, I guess my point is I can connect. I feel like I can connect with anybody, people wise. Like, I feel like I just have friends all over the spectrum, and I love connecting with people. So I think at the end of the day, like, yeah, my past experiences was racism. I try not to let that shape me or scar me or be traumatic. I just try to learn from them and still just try to connect with people, because I do believe there's more good people than bad people out here. So
yeah, I would even say, like, also, like, let's not confuse code switching with frequency, right? Like, if you're an artist and you're making an album, you got to make an album for the club, and you got to make an album for the crib, you got to make an album for the car. And so, like, there's a different frequency, different cadence, different whatever. And so, like, as humans, when we go into different environments, we can show up in a way that it's just like, yeah, I know I'm not supposed to go in there with my club mix on, right? Just because, like, that's just not what is called for in that environment. However, if something is said in that environment and we know we're supposed to challenge it, right, it becomes our responsibility to say the thing out loud that we're supposed to say. And I feel like code switching a lot of the times put people in position where they felt like they couldn't say the thing where they know they were supposed to say it, right? And then they go home and they resent themselves, like, man, all these blah, blah, blah. And they were saying blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but bruh, in any other environment, you would have checked that. And so just kind of highlighting, like, it's your responsibility to check the thing you're supposed to check. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, that's why it was hard for me to stay at any of the jobs I was at, boy. You say something crazy, it's over with. It's real talk.
I was at work one time.
And people will respect it more than you think. Even if they're on the opposite side of the fence, they be like, damn, I know he's a good dude. So for him to get that mad, I must have fucked up. You know what I mean? So people respect it at the end of the day. As long as you ain't one of the people that's just talking for no goddamn reason.
Nah, straight up. So here's a story. I was at work, and this is like hot-headed Torrean time, right? Like, this was non-Switzerland. This is non-Switzerland Torrean. And
2 weeks ago.
I was about to say yesterday.
Anyway, so I'm at work talking to this guy named I'm gonna put his name out there, but actually I will. I don't even know if he's still alive now. But anyways, his name was Jim.
You be with these old folks, bro.
What, you know what I'm saying?
Like, he was 97 at the time.
I'm thinking about going to bingo with my friends.
Yo, I do love me some good bingo, man. It's like, why y'all hating on bingo, bro? Bingo is fun as hell.
Go
That's
home,
why you
watch
love
Murder,
Florida.
She Wrote. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why he loves Florida. He'd be out there with the retirees just kicking it.
Right.
Man, I believe you can learn something from everybody. So, man, like,
True.
young or old, man, you want to be friends, let's be friends. But anyway, so, I'm talking to Jim, and Jim used to always come in the office and talk to me in general. But I used to be in property management, so we're re-signing Jim's lease. And Jim said something about colored people, like basically referenced me as a colored person. And man, I ain't gonna lie, it took everything. It took everything in me not to snap on Jim, right? It took everything in me not to snap on Jim and go the fuck off. But I went and told my boss, and she was a white woman, and she had no response, didn't know what to say, anything. And I don't know why I'm sharing this story. I just wanted to say it, but like, what would y'all do in that situation, man?
First, let me ask the question. Do you feel like that was a mislearning opportunity for Jim and you were actually supposed to say something?
I mean, if I was going to say something, I probably would have got fired. I ain't going to lie. So, I didn't say nothing, but.
So I probably would have been like, hey, Jim, don't be calling me color, fool. Like, y'all friends, right? No, seriously, if you have the relationship, you got to talk to him like you talk to him like, hey, Jim, hey, you my boy, but don't be calling me color, bro.
Yeah, I mean, like in Jim, he grew up in a time where that probably was appropriate. I'm going to say that with quotations around that language. But yeah, it's just, for me, I was so fucking pissed. And I'm like, I was also kind of hurt because like you said, we was friends. And so, by him saying that shit was just, man.
But he wasn't saying it in an ill way, like.
Nah, he didn't mean no harm by it. I don't even think he batted an eye from it. And I mean, looking back on it, I'm glad I didn't snap on him. I'm glad I didn't. Whatever. Now, if I am who I am today, I probably would be able to take the time to just kind of say, hey, Jim, we don't, we cool. I don't mean nothing by this, but we ain't gonna use them. Them terms is, from 60 years ago. But
on the way to the crib, that nigga Torrean like, fuck Jim. I ain't fucking with Jim ass no more.
So let me just say, because I don't think anybody makes a mistake, right? I think we do stuff, we learn from it, and then we're exposed to the same situation later, and then we make a different choice, maybe. And so one of the things here,
Mondo, bro. Nobody makes mistakes.
No, bro, straight up. You just are exposed to a situation, you make a choice, you exposed to it again. Are you gonna make the same choice or a different one? Who knows, right? You get to choose the person you want to become. But the reason why I'm saying this though is because Torrean, it sounds like that was that job that you were in for 8 years, and you were like, "Yo, I stayed there too long." And so I look at the story like, "Yo, was that God working through Jim? Was Torrean supposed to say something out of line and get fired way before he actually chose to quit?" Right? That's why I'm like, it wouldn't have been a mistake because we might have been doing this podcast 3 years ago because Torrean would have been like, yeah, I've been out of work. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I just say, like, yo, if you do the thing that's on your heart 100% of the time, I think you always end up in the place that you're supposed to be, is all.
Yeah, I mean, this was year 1 of the job too, and I actually did. I
needed that bread.
I did. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I hear you, bro.
And that shit was a long ass time ago. Though.
Imagine being like, man, I'm done with this entrepreneurial thing. I gotta go work a job now, and I don't really want to work a job. And you go into a job, and the dude's like, "Hey, colored boy, come here." Like, hey, bruh, like,
that's my last day, nigga. It's my last day. Fuck all that.
Oh,
right. Man, my last thing I got a question though is Mack, do you get mad at the term mutt?
This nigga be just wasting time, don't he?
No, I'm asking a question. Like, when they call you a mutt,
that's all this nigga think about his dog shit, bro. Like, what's up with this guy?
Man, I'm staring right at you, bro. It's like, man,
this nigga, all he think about is dogs and old people. What's up with him, bro?
Oh yeah, this old people piece, bro. I feel like you got some real stories, bro. You ain't told nobody, man. Like, oh man, like they asked me to put some Bengay on their back. And you were like, I don't really want to, but come here, Susie. Let me.
Hey, all them old ass names, Susie, Barbara, Jim.
Right.
My friend Theodore.
Nah, ain't nothing like that, man. Ain't nothing like that. So
All right, we'll wait.
It's all good, man. Good combos today, though, fellas.
For
yeah,
sure.
man. Who's gonna wrap it up today?
I mean, Mondo don't make no mistakes. Let's go with Mondo.
All right, insert perfect Mondo.
All right, now, all right. See, he's saying something, and he know I'm a spin move on it. I think everybody's imperfectly perfect. Me and Torrean had this debate one day that, like, yo, we're all a piece of art, right? And like every moment of every day, a new stroke of art is being put on that canvas, and so we're all imperfectly perfect. And so, yo, if you're making choices, and you're like, I know I really shouldn't have made that choice, like that's you taking that brushstroke, being like, right? Like not even being the stroke that you're supposed to put on your canvas. And so you following your heart is on you. And so make those decisions that you know you should make. And then by the end, right, you'll be that perfect Basquiat, you know? Imperfectly perfect art.
For sure.
For sure. So my imperfectly perfect people, thank you for joining us for another episode of the They Call Me Daddy, a parents podcast for Mack and Mondo. I'm Torrean, aka Daddy. Have a good day.
Peace.
They call me Daddy.